Let's talk Outer Worlds 2, shall we? It's what Xbox decided to kick off their, what was it, Xbox Showcase, Spotlight, whatever the hell. Their Summer Games Fest, former, when Xbox used to have a stage presence at E3, is whatever their equivalent was this time around, a 40-minute presentation where they had a bunch of games, a bunch of different types of games, a bunch of different genres that they were covering, as well as the launch of their new handheld, which they didn't give a price point for, but then also, without saying as much, just told you that, yeah, you're going to have to, if you want to do Xbox, you're going to have to hop on Game Pass because this is the way that we're moving forward. This is what we're most passionate about. And because Steam has seen success with the Steam Deck, yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to launch the, what is it, Ally or something like that. It's just a terrible name. I didn't mention that before in the previous video, but the Ally, oh, God, that's just so cringe. I would never be able to say, oh, guys, hey, did you play the new, Obsidian game? Well, first of all, you're just going to get stopped right there and go, no, I haven't played anything from them since New Vegas, but no. All right, did you check it out on your new Xbox Ally? Ugh. We can see why you guys decided to go ahead and revert and break ranks with literally everybody else in gaming. Okay, outside of what CD Projekt Red and was it Bungie, and then put all the Pride branding back into your profile. So it's like, oh, it totally makes sense where you'd have your new handheld as the Ally. Cringe. But no. Okay, outside of just being kind of more the same in regards to Outer Worlds, a game that, a games journalist just loved back when it first launched, and then when people started to play it, we're like, wow, this is kind of trash. But no, running it out, and this is going to be Xbox's big game of the year, I guess, like, because we'll doom the Dark Ages. Wow, what happened to all those simps that were out there when I just simply said, yeah, I don't think this game's really hitting that hard. Not a lot of people are playing it. It's not exactly selling that well. I think there's kind of a problem with the model of AAA games coming out day and date on these subscription services. It's kind of hindering their bottom line, and it's going to lead to some really unfortunate layoffs. Like, this is not great. No. Oh, it's hey, little bro, it's actually like a big hit, and then lo and behold, the real numbers come out and it sold less than 1 million copies. But hey, you could just go ahead and continue to simp for big corporation. I'll be out here just objectively assessing this shit and saying that, yeah, our Outer Worlds 2 being Xbox's a big game for them to just, re-enter the conversation in 2025, try to really reestablish themselves in Western gaming, and then dropping the $80 price tag on this game that I don't think too many people are really looking forward to. It's, for one, like, on the face of it, in a vacuum, doesn't really look like the call to make. This one, I don't know, man. I think you're reaching on this, okay? But then at the same time, this could also be the perfect game to launch the $80 price point at. Where am I going with this? Well, let's go in on it. Outer Worlds 2 launches at $80, joining a new trend in gaming. Is this going to be the new normal in video games? Well, it kind of seems it for at least Nintendo, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. Okay, not in this video, but in the next one or the one after that today. I can't remember. I don't even know how these are going to shape up, but don't worry about it. We'll talk about Nintendo very shortly. But yeah, as for Microsoft, they came out and said, yep, $80 for our AAA games. Don't worry about that. For all of our hardware, yeah, we're going to be, raising the price. We're just going to price ourselves out of the market on that one. And yeah, for our AAA games, yeah, if you want to buy them, they're going to be $80. Okay, Outer Worlds 2 from developer Obsidian Entertainment is a follow-up to the 2019 sci-fi action RPG that felt like a slightly shallower version of Fallout 4, but in space. But there are a few differences between those games. One very glaring discrepancy is the price. When Outer Worlds 2 launches on October 29th, it will carry a price tag of $80 for both the PC and Xbox versions, a $20 increase from the original game's $60 price point in 2019, and the second major title confirmed at the higher price following Mario Kart World for the Switch 2. Microsoft didn't immediately respond to requests for comment about the price of Outer Worlds 2 because, yeah, they didn't have that. Obviously, that wasn't a part of the official trailer that they showed at last Sunday's showcase or anything like that. But yeah, everybody's seen it when it was immediately listed on Steam. And then also, I think I got another slide here or something like that. But yeah, okay. Outer Worlds 2 Premium to pre-order at Best Buy is $100. What exactly do you get with that? Okay, Outer Worlds 2 base game, up to 3 days early access. Great. Okay, cool. So you get early access, so you could probably end up up finishing the game. Oh, cool. You're always going to need to be online. Internet required. Fantastic. DLC pass for 2 future expansions. What's going to be in there? Who knows? Okay. Corporate Appreciation Premium Pack. Interesting. Access to digital art book and original soundtrack. Oh, cool. You get access to that. So yeah, it's a digital download that they can go ahead and revoke at any time. So that's what you get for $100. But then again, you could just buy the base game if that's all that you want. The standard edition is only $80. Going live soon wherever the hell you want to go ahead and buy that. But yeah, you can do the same thing on Xbox if you're so inclined. But I don't know why you would be, especially off of the middling success of the original. But yes, back in May, Microsoft announced that it was raising the prices on Xbox Series consoles and accessories. While the Xbox Series console price increase may be clearly attributed to tariffs. Oh my God, you're stupid! Since the system is primarily manufactured in China. Yeah, but you take a look at what exactly are the tariffs at right now on China? All right, the same that they were prior to negotiations going down earlier this year. Okay, funny. Also, yes, in the case of Mario Kart World, the game is available on a physical cartridge. Yeah, a physical cartridge that you can put into your Switch 2 console and then download it off the internet. So fantastic. Which can have, yes, an increased cost due to the expense that comes with physical storage. Remember back in the day, when actually digital downloads for games, this was what, midway through the PS3 life cycle, when they were saying, hey guys, we're actually going to give you like a $5 discount. I think it was definitely going around for the one that I recall was for the first Last of Us, the first and only Last of Us game that was coming out. And yeah, if you wanted to get the digital download, it was what, $55 on the PSN? I think that's what it was, because yeah, we don't have those manufacturing costs. And you know, instead of raising the prices on the physical edition, because we can go ahead and pass the savings on to you, which is such a foreign concept in today's gaming. No, we'll just go ahead and, hey man, yeah, $5 off, $10 off, because we don't need to print booklets, cases, discs, or anything like that. You could just, boom, yep, just show up on your console. Totally fine. You can go ahead and do that if you're so inclined. Otherwise, yeah, just go out there and get the physical. We're not changing the price on that or anything, but now we're going to go ahead and try to make it make sense why you don't get like a game manual with it anymore. You're barely lucky to get, you know, some kind of box art in a cartridge or a disc that you have to put into your console and either install onto your system, or you have to download from a service. And you call that a physical release? Fucking gaming is so cooked at this point in time. Yeah, CNET, that's the outlet that I'm using this time around, okay? Just to spice it up a little bit, to see different perspectives on things. They'll go out there and cope and say, developing a AAA game like The Outer Worlds can be expensive. Does it have to be expensive? Or have, you know, studios like, oh, I don't know, Sandfall Entertainment that has made the surprise hit of the year with a, 32 developers and a dog, go ahead and create such a gameplay rich, narrative rich, multiple dozens of hours long gameplay. They go ahead and make a game on like a $5-10 million budget. Black Myth Wukong was about the same. Okay, they made it, I think they made that game for like $80 million or something like that. But there are several other, you know, mid-level indie games that are out there that make these expansive experiences for a fraction of the AAA budget. But no. They don't have, you know, extensive HR departments. They don't have bloated translation divisions. They don't have DEI consultants that they need to bring in at the behest of their corporate overlords. No. I can understand why a AAA game is so expensive to make, but it doesn't have to be. And don't try to whine because it is, because you guys invited all this shit in the front door. So your fucking fault. Don't expect me to try to save you from the consequences of your own actions. The first Outer Worlds was speculated to cost between $30 and $40 million. That and was noted for having a constrained budget. That's still a lot of money, okay, especially for what you guys pumped out. That's not bad, okay. As team members mentioned in a documentary about making the game, in just a matter of a few years, developing the same game can cost double that amount. Why is that? Tell me. Go ahead. Please tell me how the greatest games of all time were made on a fraction of that budget and go on and stand the test of time, as opposed to the Outer Worlds, which is like, oh no, I played Outer Wilds and enjoyed that, but Outer Worlds, yeah, that shit was ass. Why is that its legacy? As the price of labor increases and time for development continues to lengthen, that's a you problem. The cost of making games will continue to rise. Rockstar, oh yeah, GTA 6, because that's a fair comparison. Outer Worlds 2 and GTA 6 could cost. Okay, like Rockstar has not confirmed this. Of course, we all wouldn't be surprised if it comes out with $100 price point. Maybe that is the deluxe edition because, well, fuck, that's what Outer Worlds 2 is doing right here by just giving you we got some other shit that we might be cooking in the background. Okay, it's kind of like Avowed, how that's going to have DLC, or Dragon Age: The Veilguard. You go ahead and you buy the $100 collector's edition, and we'll give you some DLC. Never made it, but we promised to make it, so thanks for your additional money. We sell you hopes and dreams, and you deliver a big steaming pile of shit on a silver platter. But the silver platter is actually extra, and that's all fine and dandy. Don't worry about it. But fortunately for the Outer Worlds 2, yes, here we go. And here's the crux of the argument. Hey, bro, if you don't want to pay $80 for the game, don't do that. Don't buy it on Steam. Don't buy the physical edition. Don't buy it on PlayStation 5. It comes out on Game Pass at launch. And, I've talked about this before, and it was a big reason behind why I thought that Xbox was moving the way that they were moving in regards to their hardware sales, how they were trying to price everything out of the market so that they can go ahead and specifically focus on Game Pass. There's a reason that they chose Outer Worlds 2, okay? Anybody who might have the faintest of memories in playing the original from somewhere in the middle, we'll split the difference, 6 years ago from 2019's Outer Worlds. Duh, words are hard, right? But if they want to take a flyer on it, see if Obsidian have learned from their trials and tribulations with the original or with this year's Avowed. Like, does everybody remember? Like, this is going to be their second game of the year. But I guess, they worked out everything with Avowed. But don't worry, Outer Worlds 2, that's going to be so much better, right? Like, if they wanted to take another flyer, they could just simply sign up for Game Pass. But this is exactly what Xbox and Microsoft wants to do. They want to get everybody on their platform. They want a captive audience so that they could just, entice you in the door. Hey, the first one's free, but the next one goes directly in your ass. Come on, no, it's totally fine. And then a few years down the line, when they start integrating, ads, and they start to put a limit on how many games you can download a month, unless, of course, you want to pay twice as much for an elevated subscription, then yeah, you won't get ads anymore, and you can have unlimited downloads. And then they'll start to go ahead and monitor how much time you spend online, and they'll put a cap on that. But if you wanted to pay even more for a subscription, then you can go ahead and then you can have the unlimited budget, and then by the time that you get there, you're paying $80 a month for a subscription. Meanwhile, that used to be your budget for multiple months on end back when you were buying games and that you were actually keeping games, back when you owned the games that you had, that you were getting months and months on end of gameplay out of that. Yeah, this is just trying to push you in a direction to get a captive audience, to try to make Microsoft the Netflix of gaming. Most gamers don't understand the Xbox Game Pass strategy, but they should. It's a wealth transfer. Here's how it works and how it robs indies to enrich AAA. Well, yeah, at this point in time, I mean, these subscription services, it's quashing indie. Okay, any indie company that wants to take the quick bag, hop on Microsoft because, they'll go ahead. They'll put out your first game. Hell, they might even finance a second one. But when that one doesn't sell well because they're offering a deep discount, you can pay $12 to play it, or you could just buy it at $40 or $50. Everybody's taking the $12 route. And they shut down your studio and they put everybody out of work. But hey, you got that quick payday, so hopefully it was worth it. So yeah, they're killing off the indie market. And then, for the AAA market, you're gutting them and just moving them and putting them into these industrialized chambers where, especially over at Microsoft, everybody, okay, cool, you either get funneled into a support studio for Bethesda, or you can go work on a Call of Duty slot project. So yeah, fantastic stuff. It's not just killing the indies in the AAA market, it is killing innovation in gaming. The only top two dozen or so daily played games ever get paid. And by hours played, the rest get zero. Okay, keep that in mind as you read. I didn't actually know that, and I'd like to know how he knows. Well, yeah, Grums has several insiders on that one, so I'll take his word for it. But yeah, kind of works. I would imagine this kind of works the same way that, royalties and stream hours work. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. Game Pass pays a small upfront fee to entice smaller indie devs to be on their app. Yeah, nowhere near what the games that they would sell exactly. Yeah, it just gives you that quick influx of cash up front. It looks like a great deal, but yeah, if they actually have the hit on their hands that Microsoft sees that it could be, well, yeah, they undercut them. But because these guys are legitimately starved, like a lot of indie devs are, small teams that are just really passionate about a project. And if they have other responsibilities out there, somebody might be pressured into taking this. Okay, we used to call that different type of loan sharking back in the cut, but it's fine when Microsoft does it. A big catalog of games and a low monthly fee entices gamers. Yes, and subscription services. He who has the most content flowing wins. Exactly, and Game Pass has quite an extensive library. Raise the price of games to drive even more gamers to Game Pass. Yeah, that's where we're at. Release a AAA game title you own every month to suck up all the revenue via playtime. Indies drop off and get nothing. The bulk of the money goes to Microsoft. Gamers play on Game Pass instead of buying indie games, further giving Microsoft more of their money. Which, yeah, because of every Expedition 33, which is also a Game Pass game, there are people that just don't want to hop on the Game Pass bandwagon because they see exactly the type of hollowing out influence this has on the industry and just want to outright own their games, in so much as you actually own your games on Steam, but that's another conversation for another time. For every one of those success stories, I did a brief overview of the number of games that Xbox just revealed with their event on Sunday, and how many of those are going to be debuted and forgotten in a week. Very harrowing realization to come to. A huge Trojan horse for monopolizing the game market, and gamers don't see it. This is very bad for indie games and smaller devs, and it makes less and less while Microsoft uses their content to drive people to their service. This isn't good for gamers either, as you trade lower costs for not owning your games and having them subject to being taken away from you if you ever violate an ever-increasing totalitarian TOS agreement. If you're an indie dev, the smaller upfront fee is very tempting, often a lifeline. But longer term, it will kill the smaller game devs. So yes, as it is posited here, The Outer Worlds 2 is an $80 game on PS5, as Xbox continues to push a Game Pass, because that's what they want to push. Not innovation, not a healthier gaming industry. Microsoft wants to push you into their pocket, and they don't care how they get there. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Cosmello. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.